Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another podcast episode here at the Life School Masterclass Show. I'm so blessed to be back with you here with another amazing guest and conversation. And just reminding you that I'm your host, Elona, for all those beautiful new listeners that join us every day and every week on our podcast. I couldn't be more grateful. Elona, and I help companies scale their purpose and profits. And today we're going to talk about how to do just that, actually, how to scale our messaging so it actually reaches our ideal audience through the channel of paid advertising with another amazing expert, Robert Brill. Robert, I want to thank you ahead of time for your time and expertise and all the value that you'll be adding for our audience today. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Elona. Appreciate it.
It is my pleasure. Let's dive into some of the main, challenges that you see with the work that you do that people experience when it comes to reaching the people that they want to help through their business or
Yeah.
advertising efforts.
Yeah, I mean the biggest issue is that people are spending money on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, etc., and they're not putting out their most resonant message. And when you look at it, the fundamental issue is that you're spending money to grow a business, but if you don't know what you're doing, you're actually spending money to do to learn how to use these platforms. You're not spending money in the best possible way. So the job at my business is to ensure that when you're spending money on these platforms, that it actually grows your business. And one of the most impactful things that we do is we do a 2-week sprint test. And the sprint test really helps you understand the language, the verbatim language that resonates for your customers. Because when we look at the world, the one thing that quite literally unites all of us on this planet is we all have problems. So if we can understand the exact problems that your customers are facing that you solve for, it's a direct path to sales. And that's what we help them do with this 2-week sprint test.
Hmm. I love that. I mean, yeah, I think the more experience you get in business, the more you understand that it's really smart to do your homework and understand the processes and, know where you're investing your money because it's so easy to just try this or try that or try that because we have so many opportunities and ways which obviously we're blessed to be able to have them, but, we definitely want to know what we're doing. So knowledge and, always comes first and then implementation second.
And
So
research.
Robert,
And research is critical to that part, right? You don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's about researching the language. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, absolutely. You got my curiosity around the framework that you mentioned that kind of seeps straight through that pain point that someone must be experiencing or the problem they're having and how obviously you have that potential solution for them. So what can we share for the audience that gives them a little more insight around this? Is there a certain methodology that we need to follow when we are, putting our marketing message out there that you have seen work with your experience?
Yeah, so I'll tell you the results. So we've lowered our lead cost 76% by deploying this for ourselves. So we were getting leads for our business at $114 per lead, and now we're getting it at about or under $27. And so, you know, we most businesses really understand what they solve for, but they don't know how to express what they solve for in a way that's meaningful to the customer. So that's what we help provide. Separately, if there are companies like startups that we work with, we help them understand product market fit, what to say and how to say it and how to price your business in a way that people are going to spend money with you. But let's say you've achieved product market fit. Now we're trying to refine that. Most businesses understand the value that they provide to the business, to their customers. We just get them down to another level so that we understand the verbatim language that resonates with them. So the way we do that is we do research on Reddit, on Twitter X. We go to various AI platforms. We'll go into niche forums. We want to see what people are complaining about or talking about as problems that are related to the business, not your business in particular, but the industry that you solve for, that you work in. And then we create those 30 different problem statements and we run tests inside Facebook and Instagram. And the goal of those tests is just to get to see which messages people click on. We get a few messages, maybe 3 to 5 messages that really resonate. And then we'll do the same with solution statements. What are the solutions that really resonate for the problems? And then we'll do the same thing with images or video. Either our client will provide the images or video, or we'll create the images or video for them. And when you get all of that wrapped up together, you after the end of the 2-week process, our clients get a wrap report that identifies all the details that they need to understand. And what they end up getting is an ad that is far more effective than otherwise would have been. And then we turn those ads on, optimizing to leads or sales, and they're effective to drive leads or sales for the client.
Mm. Yeah, I love it. You're doing the foundational work, which is the messaging piece, right? And doing the right research that it resonates with the audience that you are targeting, and that makes a lot of sense for sure with the ad part. I wanted to bring this back a little, kind of like narrow, wider view, so to speak, um, with the lead generation piece. I think that's actually a big pain point for a lot of companies and even our listeners, because we have more seasoned entrepreneurs and CEOs, obviously, always looking for the best solutions for the lead generation, also the optimization of their leads to ensure that obviously they're high value leads and the cost that they're, putting forth to gain those leads. So based on your experience, what are some avenues or things that you have explored with your company as far as lead generation is concerned, beyond just the organic reach of social media or even maybe ads?
Yeah, so what we do is we take the language that we've discovered in the sprint testing and we populate them across many different places, like our website, our email marketing, our social media. But I will tell you that for our business and for other businesses that we serve, the most direct path to sales is going to be paid media. And I'll tell you why. Because social media, you need to you can create a lot of content and for years, and it doesn't lead to much. Like I've spent maybe 2 years on TikTok creating content quite consistently, and it's led to some good relationships, but it wasn't as scalable for me. But because I'm limited by my artistic ability to communicate on video, right? So if that's not who you are, what you can do is use advertising, use paid media to deliver those messages with targeting. The other challenge with social media fundamentally is that you don't have the ability to direct your messages to the right people. Like you can be like there's a lot of like local stores that are making really fun, exciting, interesting videos, but they're 500 miles away from me. I'm never going to travel 500 miles to go eat a burger, right? No matter how interesting the content is. Whereas with advertising, you really have the ability to narrow down the targeting to a zip code, to a location around an address, like a radius around an address, a city, to people with interests, etc. So as a company, I've been in advertising for 21 years, and I've been growing my company for the last 11 years. So I'm steeped in this advertising space, and I wholeheartedly believe in the value that it brings. In aggregate, marketing is going to be a strong asset for you. And all the different marketing channels need to work together. A little bit of PR, a little bit of social, some search engine optimization, and paid media. When you're able to wrap them up all together, they work really well to sort of create the symphony. They're the orchestra that creates the symphony of sales for a business. And all of that, in my opinion, starts with the sprint testing, so you can understand the language that resonates across all of your marketing channels.
Yeah, I really deeply resonate with what you just said, that it's not one thing. It's about kind of how they all connect to the bigger brand, the bigger mission, the bigger vision that you have, and leveraging all these different channels for different purposes. But yeah, I absolutely agree with you that social media is more of a long-term game of nurturing and showing up and offering value. But obviously, you also have to know how, to play that game, so to speak, and how that works. But just like anything, you can put time or you can put money in the right channel, and be able to get our ROI. And obviously, that's understanding how to do things a smart way versus the hard way. Robert, I would love to ask you. I mean, I help businesses scale, and I've noticed obviously always patterns into the growth of companies, of where they are from startup all the way to maybe getting more established and then at scale. And there's obviously certain patterns that always show up, which are very similar for most companies in my experience, right? Even though we all think, we're all unique individuals and our companies are unique and all of that. But obviously, experience has shown me that there's a lot of repeatable stuff that always keep, showing up, because it's all a process at the end of the day. Is there such a thing with ads as scaling your ads from maybe beginner stage all the way to, I don't know what that could lead into? Like, is there something that you've seen in patterns, especially from 2 decades of experience that you mentioned?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, a lot has changed over the last 2 decades. What I'll tell you that's currently that's applicable currently is that you never have to guess what your customers want. You really have the ability to understand what they're interested in, and you can mirror back to them that language. So that's the value of the sprint test. From there, I would say there's this constant iterative testing approach that we deploy for our clients, where we're testing every element of a campaign. The primary text at the top of a meta ad, the image or video, the headline at the bottom, even the call to action, right? So you never have to guess what goes in an ad that works. You just put it out into the marketplace, you look at the data, and then once you know you have the best message available to you, that's when you spend a lot more money on it. And you continue this iterative process, because what we're trying to do fundamentally is understand the best message that you have today, and then tomorrow I'm trying to beat that best message with different ways of communicating to the customer. And then the same thing for the landing page or the lead form. We do a lot with lead forms on Meta, and they yield some really valuable results there. We ask up to 50 different questions on the lead form inside Meta, because we want to get we first of all, we want to make it difficult for people to say yes, because when they say yes to a difficult or a arduous lead form, that means that there's actual interest there. The second point of that is that when we get on sales calls, we know a lot about the customer, because they've answered a lot of questions. Who do you work with? What are your biggest challenges? What is your revenue? What is your role in the business? All these sort of like granular things. So lead forms are valuable. But at the end of the day, when we deploy a media plan, when we deploy an advertising campaign, it's really focused on consistent calibration based on the data.
Gotcha. Well, my last question around this is average times, right? I mean, obviously you have the process nailed because you've helped so many people. So, with your own process, how long does it take your clients from when they start running a campaign all the way to, ensuring that that campaign is working for them and giving them back a lot of ROI on their time at this level? I guess it's not on their money, so to speak, not their time.
Yeah, so the sprint test is 2 weeks, and that's a launching point. It's $900 for that 2-week sprint test. From there, we're going in 3-month increments, and usually you start to get leads within the first 2 weeks, and then we iterate on that. Do you like the quality of the leads? Do you like what they're saying to you on the phone calls? Um, do you want more of one type of person, they have more revenue, or another type of person, they have more headcount, whatever the case is? So then we calibrate. We ask questions on the lead form. We ask different questions on the lead form. We continue doing our sprint testing. We drive them to a landing page, maybe like at the second or third month of the process. So by the 3-month mark, you should have a humming business flow that is yielding return on ad spend for you.
Okay, beautiful. Yeah, seems like a very streamlined process, and for a lot of people that want to wrap their mind around the investment of time and money, in this case, more the money piece, that will be, I think, very helpful for them. Robert, let's get a little bit behind your purpose, behind the work that you do. What are some meaningful moments in your journey that led you here? How did you get here?
Meaningful moments. Look, I in college, I told my mom and my dad that I'm gonna like take out a loan so I can have an internship at Universal Music, and that paid massive dividends because even though I came out of that with like I don't know $5,000 of debt, so that I didn't have to work, so I could have the time to intern. That job at Universal Music got me a job at Universal McCann, no relation, working on Sony Pictures. And that job in turn, we used to call it our MBA. Like I don't have an MBA, but 2 years working at the highest level with some of the most interesting, creative, diligent marketing and advertising executives in the business, um, I think powered the love that I have for this profession. I've had mentors along the way, um, and they've been instrumental in giving me opportunities, and so I'm very grateful to them. There's a few of them, and I think what I've learned from that is give people shots, give people grace. That people are going to make mistakes, but that's okay. Because if they have the vision, they have the interest, they have the passion for the business, they're usually going to do well.
Mhm. Yeah, I love it. I mean, it always repeats, right? Back to my personal, but also every guest that I've had here, that there's always like these dots that get connected in our journey leading us here. And it's always like stepping stones for sometimes when we feel lost or disconnected to our purpose. It's always there for a very good reason. And nothing ever happens, just because. So I love that you also shared that and kind of drove you to the work that you do today to help. Pretty much, I see your mission as definitely bigger than ads. I mean, I've always seen my mission as bigger than ads as well. And I think it's really, solving the right problems in the world, right? Based on our experiences, the things that we are setting up. So at the end of the day, that's how we are able to contribute and add value and make this world a better place, but also leverage our experience and gifts in contribution and in service. So thank you so much for sharing what you just did and all the amazing wisdom that you shared with us. I would love to ask you now, as we are reaching the end of this conversation, as I try to, jam pack conversations into a very short wisdom of time, with maybe a final message for our audience today. It could be related to what you do or anything else that maybe you have learned along your journey as an entrepreneur and somebody helping and supporting others. And also, where is it that we just started the conversation? Where is it that we can continue the conversation with you?
Yeah. So I think the big thing I've learned as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, is processes and systems are critical to growth. There was a period of time where we tripled our staff over a summer. We didn't have any processes or systems. I didn't know what that was even a thing. Didn't get into business because I cared about processes or systems. But once we discovered that, it's been a game changer for us. If you want to reach out to us, brillmedia.co, B as in boy, RILL media.co. We can set a call. You can talk to me. We can talk about your marketing strategy and get started on a sprint test.
All right, Robert, thank you so much again. I would encourage everybody to go check out Robert's website wherever you are in the journey with paid ads, because I always find that obviously wherever you are, there's always going to be the next thing that you don't know. We don't know what we don't know. And that could definitely bring you back a lot of time. For me, I value time very highly, especially if you understand where the ROI is and a lot of the investments that we make. And I want to thank you always for watching and supporting the show by sharing and subscribing it and also leaving us a review. Thank you so much for your attention today, and I'll see you next time with another amazing guest and conversation. Bye, everybody. Hello, dear podcast listeners. Thank you so much for supporting the show. And while we're here, I would love to introduce you to a couple of books that I've written and authored, best-selling books, in case that you're looking to add more legacy products into your life to help you scale your purpose and profits. The first book that I've written is called Connecting the Dots Backwards. And in this book, you'll have the clarity to clarify your vision and purpose so that you can do more good in the world. The second piece that is associated, that goes alongside the book, is the Connecting the Vision Backwards journal as well. So this is meant to implement a lot of the learnings from the book so that you can also self-reflect on some of that inner work that is necessary so that you clarify your purpose. The next book that I've written is called Purpose Driven Entrepreneurship. And this holds my framework, my methodology in scaling a company that aligns purpose with profit at the next level. So you'll find a connection of dots between your branding, your marketing, your sales, your systems, and your team so that you can grow a sustainable company that's simplified beyond its owner. The last book that I've written is called Visionary Purpose Driven Leadership. And this book is meant to help you scale up your leadership with your team so that you can build a healthy culture, create a conscious culture, but also, most importantly, build a legacy out of your company. And then the last piece of legacy product that I have created, of course, has stemmed from all my work with clients. And the most important skill that we need as leaders, which is time management, efficiency, and productivity. Focus on Purpose Planner is meant to help you plan your quarters and your year on purpose and on intention so that you're focused and working on the right priorities while freeing up your time and also aligning your purpose and your profit as well. Any of my products can be found right over here, left hand side, on my website, elonathepartycoaching.com/books. And or you can scan the QSR code right here on the screen to get straight to the links and the books. Happy reading, and thank you again for watching the Life School Masterclass show.